So, Acho, do you agree with Trevor Lawrence that trying to prove people wrong is unhealthy?
Not at all, Sal.
Oh, you don't?
Here's what I'll say. It might be unhealthy for him. Right, like Trevor Lawrence,
respect.
I'm not going to sit here and act like you fall under the umbrella of most athletes, or you fall under the umbrella of most people, or you fall under the umbrella of anyone besides yourself. You just got married, I think, last week. I don't know how cats be having weddings before they ever make money. Big dog, like, wedding was lavish. My dog, you look good, Trevor Lawrence, you look good. But Trevor Lawrence, he just properly understands where he is.
Yeah.
He's not trying to prove people wrong. He's trying to prove people right. You've been the #1 recruit coming out of high school. Now you're the greatest quarterback recruit in the last 30 years. So nobody's ever slept on you, Trevor Lawrence. You have no one to prove wrong. You just have to prove people right. But on the flip side, Sal, our greatest athletes have really had that motivation of trying to prove someone wrong, having some internal chip on their shoulder. Remember Michael Jordan. People argue he's the greatest basketball player of all time, or inarguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Jordan did a whole bunch to try to prove people wrong. The Bradford Smith drops buckets on him, allegedly says, "Nice game, Mike." Next night of a back-to-back night, Jordan drops 37 in the first half after LeBradford had dropped 36 on the whole game the day before, if I'm not mistaken on how that story goes. So even Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, would create narratives and stories in his mind to try to prove people wrong. You need a motivation in life, my people. If you don't have one, find one. If the motivation is money, let it be money. If it's fame, let it be fame. If it's status, let it be status. If it's trying to prove people wrong, let it be trying to prove people wrong. I don't think it's unhealthy at all.
I love what Trevor Lawrence said. And I think it is unhealthy when guys want to put a chip on their shoulder, come from a negative mindset and convert it to a positive mindset versus starting in a positive mindset of appreciation that the fact you already have made it and taking that and growing from that place. Think about it. Is it easier to go from a bad mood to a good mood or a good mood to a great mood? I would think good mood to great mood because you're already in the positive sphere. Here's the funny thing about it all. Because I really think it's contrived. I really think it's false. You brought up Michael Jordan. Contrived.
All day.
Yeah, he lied. He lied. He would lie to himself. He lied to us watching the damn documentary. And then he was like, I lied. But it's still a lie, even though he laughing at it, tongue-in-cheek, lying. So here's the thing. Michael Jordan had his own demons he was dealing with. I'm not trying to go through that course to put the ball in the hole. You know, whatever sport it is, whatever game I'm playing, if I got to go through all of that just to get it done, then I don't think that's the healthiest of mindset. And that's what Trevor Lawrence is talking about. Think about this, big dog. This is a world where we already know the rich get richer, right? Success begets success, right? So whatever you start with snowballs. Why would you want to start with a negative? And then hopefully it doesn't snowball. Obviously you don't want it to, and it probably doesn't. But then you got to convert that into a positive. The shortest distance between 2 points is what? A straight line, big dog. How about you stay one, in the same positivity that you want to end up in, and two, shorten that distance. But I give it to you like this in story form.
Please.
Mojo. Maurice Jones-Drew, my dog. He clowned me a few times. That was my teammate. Love that dude. He came in and he was like, wearing number 32. You know, I was like, why are you wearing number 32? He's like, because 32 teams passed up on me, homie. I said, no, actually, no, they didn't, because one team looped back around and got you. You should be wearing 31. But, you know, he thought, I'm wearing 32 because 32 passed up on me. I was like, you sure it ain't because of OJ? You sure it ain't because of Marcus Allen and stuff like that? No, it ain't that. It's because 32 teams passed up on me. I got a chip on my shoulder. And I start thinking to myself, man, what the hell are these football players out here thinking? You know that there are over 1.1 million high school football players? 1.1 million. And they only draft, 224 every year? That is putting you in a club of 0.0001%. And then your butt gonna sit there in that moment, and instead of having a tremendous appreciation for that moment, you're gonna try to sell something to the fans that you know is gonna land, which is, man, I went number 8 instead of number 2. And I know how contrived that lands. I know how contrived that sounds. And I think it's starting from a negative mindset based on how they're going to take it rather than how you really feel.
I don't disagree with the logic. Don't disagree with your thought process. But let me push back. Sal, sometimes you got to go backwards to go forward.
Really?
If I was trying to snap a rubber band and get the most shot forward, I'd have to pull the rubber band back. Let's talk track and field.
Yeah.
Why you start in blocks? Because you apply pressure from your feet backwards into the block to propel yourself forward. Sometimes you need some of that emotional energy that's negative so that you can spring yourself forward to a positive. I know it's worked out in my life experience.
Let's go there.
The only reason, y'all, I'm sitting in this chair right now, the only reason is because once upon a time across the sea, I was at another place, another network. And I'm sitting there with that executive, and I asked, hey, can I get a promotion? And they said this, and I quote, your name is not big enough. Just that was it.
I know who said it too. I was over there before.
That's where the conversation stopped.
Wow.
Your name is not big enough. I said, thank you. I walked out the office. I called my agent. And I said, hey, we got to go. Within the last year, you want to know whose name is now vastly bigger than anybody on the show I was trying to get promoted to? Your boy.
It's your boy.
And every day, I think about your name is not big enough. So what is my motivation to have to continue to create a bigger name for myself? If that was my limiting reactant, it's remembering those words, those proving people wrong that my name was not big enough. I'm not continuing to climb with the same exponential growth, I would assume, or at least I'd have to find it elsewhere. Because you got to get a motivation from somewhere. So I'm not going to say I wouldn't continue to climb, but I'd have to find a motivation elsewhere. So, Sel, if it may be unhealthy in the moment, but it leads to long-term gains.
I don't know, man. All you told me is that you responded to adversity. And every athlete has to do that.
No question.
But I don't want to create a persona. I don't want to create an impression in my mind that things are bad, a negative mindset, a chip on my shoulder, pandering to my fans in order to respond and spring forward. Because it's just a lack of appreciation and perspective. It's a damn lie on top of that. I give it to you like this, because no executive ever told me that, because no one ever expected me to have a big name. I'm Marcellus Wiley, but I could talk that talk. So that was my name, my talk, not necessarily my game. Here it is as a parent. This is how I learned it. If a kid falls, they teach you not to react to that fall because you want to see purely, are they really in pain or are they just reacting to you? Now, so my kids all the time, they falling. Little MJ, little Riley, bow, bow. And I remind myself, don't say anything. Because if they fall, I got to see how much pain they're really in. And you notice every time they fall, them eyes go straight to you. Daddy, gauge this for me. Daddy got the blank stare. You tell me. Now, I relate this to athletes. I've seen too many damn athletes fall in the draft. And then the fans, the parents, it seems like in this situation, go, no, Maurice Jones-Drew didn't. No, Aaron Rodgers, no. And you know what the athlete starts to do with his eyes when they look at the fans? He go like this. Yeah, and start with this chip on your shoulder. Boy, you 0.0001% of all that have made it. Shut your mouth and go out there and play ball.